It is almost the end of February. We have about a month left before I hit my 2-year game playing anniversary, and I just figured I would do a small update from where I am at. It's very slow going on the crawl to 15 million, as most of the upgrading within the city is complete. As you can see, we'll start down here with the beach. Most everything I have here are deltas. I'm waiting for shark tours to become available again, just because of the range that they cover. Gives me that 60% boost to overlap my 40% boost with my deltas, so that I can get those 100% coverages for the beach. I have the spaces kind of plotted out where the other shark tours will go, but I have completed the beach. I do have one Mayor Pass zone here when they did the land upgrade. Here on the far right of the screen, I went ahead and opted to put this Mayor Pass with a 60% boost down here in the water, just because I figured, outweighing the fact that a beach item that size would not gain me 28,000 in Mayor Pass boost. So sometimes you just need to weigh out where you're going to get more population from, and by placing a Mayor Pass there, I was able to not need to place one on my map. So it's addition by subtraction when it comes to what is going to fit your map best. Most of my Mayor Pass items that I have here on my screen are at least 50%, some of which are 60%. I do have a couple that I still need to replace, only because the Mayor Pass buildings do not tend to actually give you 100% overlap coverage where needed. As you see right here, I could fit in 843 population, but if you take a look at the fact that I've got 40 there and 65 there, gives me 105%. That tells you that I shouldn't still be able to add boost population to Mayor Pass. So I do the best that I can as I get some larger Mayor Pass buildings available that I go through and replace them. Now, obviously, 2x2 is the most ideal because it takes up the least amount of space on my map. But as you see right now, I have 1.35 million in coverage. If I were to go to, I think Parks is where I have 100% coverage of everything, I should be getting a 1.4 boost from all of my specializations to know that I have 100% coverage on my map. And I've been going through and doing a lot of overview as far as what makes more sense to place on my map, especially when it comes to landscape, just as I have the university bridges out here on my screen. I need to keep in mind that some of these roads must have bridge connection between them to keep the utilities going, but also if there's any spots that I can remove two from, like right here, it's 18 and 16,000 for those two bridges. That makes 34,000. I know that I can't build a residential unit to replace those two bridges. That will be more than 34,000. So it's just going through and maybe someday being able to get rid of more bridges to create more spaces for residential. Now you see this 2,500, that is just the water that is underneath of the Mayor Pass item there. Now eventually, if I can get a Mayor Pass item that's bigger than 20 by 20 or has a higher than 45% boost rate, I will remove the water mill and place that in there in hopes to continue to gain the population needed to get up to that 1.4 million that I have for my parks. But taking a look at my city, we looked at parks already, is at 1.4. Landscape we just talked about with mostly the university bridges. Obviously, it's a lot better when I do get some of these other bridges. The Trinity Bridge gives me 16 by 20 for 30% boost, which is obviously the biggest and best boost that I can get. Those items just don't come around very often. My education right now is at just over $1 million. As you see, I still need to do hotspot upgrades to work towards getting the extra 400,000 that I need there. Transportation 1.2. We talked about the beach earlier. You can see that this area here of beach will probably eventually be covered once I remove the beach item here and put in another delta if I have room. I just need 3 spaces for the shark tours, and I don't know how the spacing is going to work out there, but there is some room to gain. I may have to leave the sauna bar there or move it somewhere else, only because, as you see, it is the only beach item that I have that goes to 60, which covers the entire map. Everything else is 40. Entertainment, again, we're still working on hotspot upgrades there. Mountain, I've pretty much covered everything here. Again, I did the same thing up top with a Mayor Pass item just because of how small it is, but how much space it does cover. It did weigh out the option of putting another Mayor Pass item in that spot there. So we will continue to move forward. I have the space for 56 more residential units within my utilities, but that's just not really going to ever come to fruition unless they give us a lot more land to continue to upgrade on. You can kind of see where my manors are. There are 8 of those. I have gotten rid of all of my Omega, and no mass transit in the capital city. Come down here and take a look at City Hall. You're seeing I'm getting a daily income of 86,000, even though that's not really based on the total population, which includes the regions. That's just from the city here, which I have almost 14.6 million. I've done my best with space to put as many of these rover tracks as I can to boost the population. There just hasn't been a lot of other options that have come along that are a 2x2 that offer larger coverage areas. At some point, if they do, that will allow me to add additional residential units to the map. Be sure to check out my video that I have done to show you how to make sure that your moon rover track is facing the correct direction. As you see, the area is 14 by 16, which means you're going to get a population boost higher depending on which way you have your rover track facing. I was able to squeeze a couple down here at the bottom row, which I could probably still eventually get rid of this Mayor Pass item if I can get a large coverage item with a boost there. I can continue to put some additional specializations down on the bottom row and maybe free up room for additional residential units above. But right now, all of my roads are upgraded. Again, we have landmarks everywhere. The end over here is probably the only space that I am not getting 100% coverage from, only because, as you see, the landmark to the left does not cover this very last row. except for when they had this special landmark hologram for the 10th anniversary. It was 22 by 22 opposed to the 18 by 18. So that area, I had the most residential units, so I was able to get a bigger boost by placing that item there to give me 100% landmark coverage in that zone. But outside of that, if I were to bump these over to the right a little bit more, then I would be having a gap in coverage between the landmarks here on the left of my screen and the right of my screen. So for now, I will just have to deal with the fact that I cannot get to that 1.4. I may be able to squeeze another landmark down here on the bottom once I free up some space, but I just don't feel like, as you see, the boost that I would get down here is not really enough to use a landmark item for. So this is where we are at right now. I'm hoping to get to 15 million residents by my year 2 anniversary, which happens to be on April Fool's Day. So we have all of March to earn another 400,000 residents, which most of my epic projects are netting between 6,000 and 7,000 per. I'm only anticipating maybe getting 20 or 25 of those a month, just because I really only go up to the 40 level because I'm saving all of my other inventory items to be able to do all of the hotspot upgrades that I still need to do. Taking a look at the hotspots. That's not what I wanted to do. There we go. They are all at least level 7, and I've already started collecting all of those tokens for Black Friday, even though it's only February when I started doing that way I can make the most out of the upgrades that I get. I don't feel that I will be able to get everything to a level 10 by Black Friday. It's just requiring me to earn about 30,000 of those tokens a week in some of the regions, and that's just not feasible. So for now, unless the game makes a change where they either increase the output of the points that we get for our hotspots, it's going to at least be another year before I can get to the 17 million, but we're slowly growing and getting there. I didn't want to pick up a landmark. Let's look at the residential units. Right now, I have 382 epics. Still need another 262 of those. You figure 262 times at least 6,000 is, pretty close to 1.4 million just in residential upgrades. That will all increase once my specialization boosts come. So 15, 16, 17 million still looks possible. But for today, that is where our update is. If there's anything specifically you want to see within the city, let me know. I can do short videos on specific areas to give you a better idea of how everything is being laid out to get the biggest boosts out of my specializations. But for today, that's all I got. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Be sure to subscribe and like the video, and let me know what else you guys want to see on the channel. I'm still working towards doing a video for burger farming here in the very near future, as I do have a separate city that I specifically focus on just farming for, to push Simcash into, or simoleons into this city, so that I can purchase all the items I need to do all the upgrades that are required to continue to increase the population here in